we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 6, The Spy Humongous. And Trek on the Tube's totally distracted. I was just like watching him. Hello. Welcome. I have in the house today, we have Paul Sutherland. I read your name first because you're the only one that has your real name. And then we have, I think it's pronounced Toddly Gay.
Yeah, totally gay.
Totally gay. Great. Myself, Starfleet Boy Big Helmet, and oh my gosh, Captain Janeway!
I am Captain Janeway of the Enterprise.
Still more convincing than that copy they made in that one episode of Voyager.
welcome.
Fast and prosper.
Yes. I love that. That's not Captain Janeway. That's Captain Freeman.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Oh, we already have some folks in the chat. Let's see here. Keegan Review says hello. Big Body Rutherford says, I am smart, I am strong, yes. And then parentheses says, greetings. Welcome, guys. Tell us what you thought.
I'm in theme. I truly feel like a Pakled trying to figure out how to work my computer.
You are. You're the Pakled of the group. It's true.
Send me a Geordie.
we won't say what I am. We only set it offline, and it's going to stay. What happens on the pre-show stays on the pre-show.
Yeah. I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
But there's a reason to stick around for the NC-17 version later.
Starfleet Boy After Dark plug. Who wants to do our episode summary for this this hilarious episode?
Not me.
I think Captain Janeway did it last time, so I think you're the one, Toddly.
You have the big helmet.
I have the big helmet. I appoint you.
Oh, okay, I'll do it real quick. I don't know. What is it? Where are we going with this? We find the Cerritos and Captain Freeman trying to negotiate like a peace treaty of some kind with the Pakleds. They're on the Pakled planet or the
Pakled planet. I love the name of the Pakled planet.
Very creative. I don't. That's unironic. I believe that it's very creative. Pakled planet. But it's all a scam. It's all a sham. They're not actually trying to, speak and be peaceful. They've sent a spy aboard the USS Cerritos, disguised as like an escaped prisoner.
Rumdar.
Rumdar.
That's right.
All right. So this dude is trying to essentially like steal secrets from the Cerritos, but he's incapable of doing so. Ransom and Keishon are trying to find him because at some point he disappears, but he disappeared into space, it would seem. And then on the side we've got like two subplots. One where he's kind of joined like a clique, like the red shirt clique.
Red shirts.
That all want to be the best at giving speeches and want to become captains. Personified, I guess. And
they're like
and
the
then,
mean girls, but not so mean.
Like the mean red shirts. And then Rutherford and Mariner are kind of following Tendi along on her adventure of picking up, I suppose, like ranked officers' scraps. They pick up all this bullshit from their missions, which is actually fascinating stuff. It's sci-fi stuff, as Mariner would say, but they have to deal with that. I don't know how to finish this mayhem of a recap.
And then
it all ties together when they leave the Pakled planet.
Yeah, and also they're doing what was it called?
Mariner saves Tendi's life,
No.
or at least saves the day.
Boimler saves Tendi's life.
Sorry,
Boimler.
Boimler saves the day by transforming Tendi back into the Orion that she's supposed to be, not a big ass green scorpion, and he does so not by giving speeches or being like the model officer that this clique thinks that you should be, but by actually putting in the work and being an officer. And although the other guy gets to be like acting captain for like a minute before Shax delivers his best line ever. Get out of my chair. Boimler gets the true recognition from Ransom.
Right on. And it's not just inspiring speeches. You have to get in and do the work and like roll up your sleeves and do it. Also, did you
Deserve to
mention
be an upper decker. You have to be that lower decker first.
did you mention anomaly consolidation duty?
Yeah, kind of. They're just picking
Okay.
up weird sci-fi trash.
All right, since I didn't want to do the summary and you did it, I think that's a great job. Good job.
I think that earlier in the season, I felt like Mariner said her most Rick thing, but I feel like Boimler, his like first speech, that's a terrible one. That was the most Morty thing that's ever happened on the show. I feel like Boimler felt like Morty trying to give a speech in that moment.
I watch Rick and Morty, so you'll have to explain that a little bit.
Well,
No,
Rick and
you
Morty
don't
have
have to
already.
explain
Okay, well,
Do
just
you guys
go
watch
watch
Rick
the
and
show. God damn it!
You guys watch Rick and Morty?
Yeah, but I've never made that connection, and I appreciate that, actually. Actually, though, I mean, it was not very Morty-ish, but my favorite Boimler line this episode was, "I'm a cutie."
Yes, I appreciated that too.
That was fantastic.
He got the hair. He looked so good.
How do you get like muscles all of a sudden? Was it just that they tightened his uniform, or
I
like...
think they also may have padded the
the
uniform
padded
a bit.
shoulders?
I was kind of reading that into an old nod to how like Wesley Crusher had to have that like bodysuit under his uniform because he was so scrawny, so it
Is
made
that
him
right?
fill out
I didn't know
in
that.
TNG.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of the actors would have some like either shoulder pads because obviously it was 80s, 90s, so those were everywhere. Besides just the Romulans, but a lot of people would have padding to make themselves look more, built before actors had to actually go to the gym. Yeah.
I need that. I need to get like the padding to like shoulders and until all my efforts on the Peloton pay off. That's crazy. Yeah, that is funny. I bet that's what that was.
It is my only complaint for like the whole episode. I think is that they just made him slightly too buff. I think they could have gotten the message across without like necessarily enhancing his like. I mean, his appearance changing with the hair and everything. That's fine, but it felt like they gave him too much muscles, like muscles that weren't there. That's my only little problem, I guess.
Thinking that like they shouldn't have given him calf muscles because like you see all these, at least in LA, you see all these guys are like really buff but like really skinny legs, and I thought they should.
Everybody skipped leg day.
So what did you guys think of the Pakled planet or the Pakled homeworld or Pakled planet? Did it meet your expectations? Like what were you expecting? How did you think they delivered?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was just the right amount of, you could tell that there might have been a civilization that was thriving there once, and you don't know what happened. They just fumbled their way into this.
They gave the fuck up.
And it's like, and the fact that the revolution and everything happened all at once, it makes you think, like, does this happen on a weekly basis? That, like, everybody just, it's like kids on the playground, like, whoever grabs the crown first gets to play ruler for the week.
That's totally what it was.
It felt very just hack-led.
How do they carry on?
I was expecting like garbage everywhere. I thought it was gonna be like, I was actually surprised pleasantly. Like I like that they had like these like solid gold, structures, and it's true the planet did look like it was strong.
We have to meet a smart Pakled at some point. There has to be someone like the lower decks of Pakled. They're the ones running the shit. They're the ones that are actually the smarter ones.
When we saw the female Pakled come on, I was really wondering if they would do the twist of like, she's very proper and very educated and she knows everything, and she'd come on and be like, this is actually what's happening. And then but
she was very into knowing what Ramdar's state was. She was like very concerned about Ramdar. I wonder if there was any connection there.
Yeah.
I really like that because I was also expecting them to have like a filthy planet, and I was expecting to like get more coherent Pakleds in this episode, and I appreciate that they just stayed true to how we know the Pakleds, because like they obviously built their own like a civilization. They obviously became like a spacefaring people, so they're doing their own thing, and it's just completely alien to us, and it looks like they're idiots. They are idiots, but it's working for them for some reason, and I'm okay with that. I don't need them to make them more human to justify how they how they get along.
Yeah, I dig that too. I hope there's not I mean, it would be okay if there were, but I hope there's not some kind of oh, they were once really sophisticated and smart, and then they just started watching TV all the time or something like that.
I mean, it could work. It could work, but on the other hand, if they leave it as it is, basically all our headcanons is at some point they stole someone's warp ship somehow, and then they've just carried on like that. And I think that's just an amazing backstory. But it was nice to see that some of them they at least have the decency to clean their shit up, and they understand that whom wears the crown is the ruler or whatever, even if they want to a revolution and then they cancel the revolution. I don't know, it works. It was fun. I liked all the different leaders. Everyone has a bigger crown than the other.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they didn't tamper too much with it. I was really expecting something where one of them is smart or something like that, but I was expecting Kayshawn or Shax to be a spy that they had planted there or something, but nope. Nope.
Maybe eventually.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I saw Trek on the Tube tweeted me privately and was like, "Don't respond," because he didn't want me to spoil anything, and he was going through his stuff, and I was like, "Yes, he has no idea what's happening." He's
I have no clue.
Totally misdirected.
I didn't expect the spy to actually be a spy. I thought the spy was truly just a prisoner that escaped. I thought, okay, the spy is going to be Shax that they brought back to life somehow, or Kayshawn. Then I thought, nah, Kayshawn, they just, I don't know. But I wasn't expecting it. They really went the simplest route, and I think it ultimately was the most effective.
Watching I don't know what's going on with my lights. They're changing randomly. I apologize, everyone. Sorry, carry on, Paul.
I was just gonna say, I rewatched half the episode, and I got a kick out of the moment where Rumdar disappears, because on the rewatch I knew that he had tried to go to the toilet and then fell out an airlock, and it really cracked me up. He just disappears, He
thought he was flushing the oh god. Also, for since Toddy is our resident canon stickler, I guess or whatever, continuity stickler. So starships have a gift shop. That's amazing. You can go aboard any starship to the gift shop and get
it's
swag.
Not confirmed. It's not confirmed that they have a gift shop. I think it's a scam. I think Ransom and Kayshawn took him to a replicator room and they pretended it was a gift shop. They just replicated him a shirt.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. What is going on? My lights are I don't know what mode I pushed or what button, but do you guys see that the lights just keep changing randomly? It's so weird.
You hit the gay pride button.
It's part of the move.
Yes.
It's part of this is the vibe for tonight. We don't know what's going to happen.
It's true.
This is all improv. The points don't matter.
It is improv. It's true. Speaking of gay, Toddy, this is this is tripping me out. You've been gay colonized.
I've been gay colonized. That's why I'm probably gay.
We have a couple of
comments. So much more attention than he deserves.
I know, it's true, but that's a genius thing. I'm so happy to be a gay colonizer. I also put it on my LinkedIn, and so I love the episode. I was, however, left wondering how the Pakleds can operate interstellar technology while being as dumb as they are.
They just look dumb to us.
There's thousands of species out there also that they can dupe into helping them, right?
Which we've seen their MO on TNG. Yeah, exactly.
And thanks to Prodigy, we now know that all it takes is you just find the button that says pew pew and you push it. So
pew pew button.
Apparently it's all just labeled phaser.
And I mean, technically speaking, a species like the Pakleds are basically immune to people like the Romulans that are all mind games and manipulative. They can't do that to the Pakleds. It'll never work. And the Cardassians, same thing. Like the only option is to blow them up, basically, right, or disable them,
or help
some
them,
way.
or whatever. Like
Or help
make
them, but that's not
make them go.
make
I
them
think
go.
I think they've tricked Klingons. If I remember correctly from that TNG episode, they had tricked a couple of Klingons too, and so they're pretty crafty. Those Pakleds, you can easily underestimate them. Her Majesty the Queen. That's right.
Mhm.
It was also, what was it, like the rebellion was somehow they pronounced the rebellion really weird too. It was like a revolution. That's what it is. A
Yeah.
revolution. Revolution. I love that line that went something like,
Yes.
"Wearing a red shirt feels like one is invincible." Yeah, that was amazing.
It's a bit on the nose, isn't it?
That was one of my probably one of my favorite quotes of the entire episode, and I was hoping someone would bring it up because just the continuous red shirt reference throughout TOS, TOG, all of it is one of my favorite things about Star Trek, and it's such a pop culture thing now. It just makes me so happy that Lower Decks is finally cashing in on it a little bit.
Well, isn't it also great that they're like finally referencing the fact that they changed the shirt color? You know, like that's, you know, nobody ever has brought that up before Lower Decks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no one's
true.
ever acknowledged it really.
Wait,
in
did
the-
they?
Oh.
Did they?
No, I don't think so. Did they? Oh,
Deep Space Nine, Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah.
They point
Ah.
out how she's wearing the wrong color, and she says, "Actually, I'm not."
Yeah.
That episode did
Oh.
everything right. All right, it's like a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Deep
Oh,
Space Nine.
That's highest on the list. Jadzia in a short skirt and the tricorder, fantastic.
And that like lovely blink that you have that she does, that's a nice gift that you can use when you type Jadzia, so it's pretty cool. Alexander says, "I'm here to report that unlike last week, this time I was thoroughly entertained from Janeway all the way to Arma." Yes, we'll have time.
Yeah.
Arma's. What was that crystal, the thing called that she uses to prank him? I didn't write it down, but it was
So yeah, I
funny.
got spoiled the fact that Amos was in the episode, but then I didn't know like anything about it. I just saw like Amos was in the episode and I saw a picture of him. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, I didn't think of it throughout the episode. I wasn't trying to figure out where we was going to play in or anything. I just let the episode go. And then at the end, I was like, oh, God. Like the spoiler, it didn't spoil it so much. It spoiled his appearance, but the scene was just so good. I was cracking up.
Yeah, it was funny. Patrick Patterson, welcome to the stream, says he was cute pre-buffness. In fact, it's a fact. He was a cutie, so it's true. And also, apparently, Paul, your type is skipped leg day.
That's not my type, but I was thinking the joke would be funny if he had a big body.
I'm just hearing that Paul likes toothpicks with, Dorito on top, toothpick on bottom.
Dorito.
Actually, my type is Rutherford when he's a big boy.
Oh,
All the muffled stuff he was saying.
I have in my notes that is it Eugene Cordero doing Keishon's voice as well? I didn't look into it, but
No, I don't think so.
okay.
not, no.
I thought it was. I thought thought there was like similar, I guess, intonations, but okay. My bad.
I'm terrible with actors.
Patrick also says, "I'm here thinking I'm a Bajorn or something, but the fact is I'm a no, none of us are Pakleds. Maybe
The first step is to admit it.
To admit it. I loved how Boimler stuck up for his friends over the crappy clique. Yes, I agree. That was really nice. But I expected that to happen. Boimler's incorruptible as far as I'm concerned. He's such a sweetheart.
The goddamn joke with the Kazinti, where he like crouches over like in the animated series. He looks like the animated series Kazinti Pirates, and then he stands back up. It's all about posture. That was really good.
That was very good. Yeah, I love that early in the episode when Boimler ditches the lower deckers to go with the red shirts. Mariner is like, "That was a good idea," or whatever she says. Like, it's like a consistent thing with them in the show is like they'll get mad, but then they'll get mad because they're like happy for their friend or something, I appreciate that.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
she was
whole-
like, she was
mad
almost
respect.
envious. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
almost like envious. Like, damn, he got out of it somehow. It's really
Yeah, but she's envious not so much of like what he's doing, but of like the fact that he had the idea or the
Mhm.
opportunity. It's like she's like, oh, that was so good. I should have done that.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of the episode where Rutherford keeps changing jobs, and like, he goes to like Billups and says, or not Billups, but whoever the engineer is. Is it Billups? Anyway,
It
Billups,
was
yeah.
yeah,
Billups,
Billups. You're right.
and there's that like moment of like, oh, you're gonna leave, huh? Well, good for you. Like they kept doing in that episode, and I like that. That's a very Star Trek feeling thing to me, that people would be happy for one another. Personally.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's
No, I
and
agree.
I
That's how
love that they
Oh,
kind
go ahead,
of
sorry.
showed. Sorry, they kind of showed also that like he did kind of treat it in the end of just getting out of waste collection duty. Like, and when all was said and done, he was like, "No, I'm not going to abandon my friends. Like, just because you guys are asking me to do this, like, I'm not giving them up. I'm trying to do both. Like, I'm trying to get ahead in my career and stay friends." And then ultimately he had to make a choice. And I thought that was really neat, that was a very Mariner thing, that she would like, obviously not to get ahead in her career, but she's like, no, I might do all these things, but at the core, at the end of the day, like, I have my beliefs, and go to hell if you don't agree with them, type thing.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then we had that line with the friendship. It's not a friendship, it's a starship.
You love that line. You tweet about it.
I don't even know if I liked it. I just feel like the person who wrote it was really, really happy about it. I was like, I'm going to acknowledge that.
It's one of those cheesy corporate lines too that you hear like all the time, from like your bosses like telling you like, this and that, like be more like this or whatever. And so it resonated pretty much.
What is it? Teamwork makes the dream work.
I actually
That
like
kind of
that one.
Oh, okay.
I actually like that one, but yes, that's a good example of like one of those.
This isn't RuPaul's Best Friend race. A little 2K there.
What did you guys think of? What did you guys think of like Captain Freeman? Like this whole season, she's trying to get like ahead in her, like she's trying to get more prominence or something like that in her career, and so she was just like the whole time she was like, if I can broker this, peace treaty with the Pakleds, it'll really like look good or whatever. And I think Shaq says, well, they might even give you an enterprise if you keep doing Picard level moves like this. They might even give you an enterprise. So I thought that was pretty cool. What do you guys think is going on? Is there something? Are we being set up for something?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they're setting up something necessarily. I just think that what they're doing is they're trying to grow Freeman as a character, because with this one and the line that she had in last week's episode about like the importance of a crew and the mission that she does, even if they're like a small, they're not one of those flagships or anything. What do they call them? The
Capital
ships.
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to push kind of the idea that Freeman's proud of her job, and that she's she's happy doing what she does. So that's what I think they're going for. I don't think they're gonna queue up like and they're not gonna give her an enterprise.
Maybe they'll make maybe they'll upgrade the California class to capital ships. Who knows?
Maybe you know what?
They'll finally get into those parties.
If she captains the Enterprise, like for one episode, because she saves it from the Pakleds, maybe.
See, I could absolutely see her. We do all this build up, and she finally gets it. And she gets a capital class, and she like gets promoted out of the Cerritos, and somebody else comes in, very Jellicoe style, and we see a cut back and forth between her captaining like a sovereign class or a capital ship, a Parliament class. And then at the end of the episode, it falls apart and the ship blows up and she gets demoted back to the Cerritos.
Oh, no.
And then the other captain gets like promoted again out. I could see that happening.
Patrick has a good theory. I like this. Maybe they were once enslaved race and they overcame their slavers and took their equipment. That would explain why the cities are so like, grandiose and stuff like that. That maybe they did. Or they like took over this planet somehow. They tricked the whole civilization into like giving them their planet. There was a gift shop in Data's Day, says Big Body Rutherford.
I mean, but it wasn't really a gift shop. It was just that
the ship stores. They called them the ship stores. Yeah, I know.
Which is what I assume they took into.
Oh, the gift. That's where like Worf doesn't know what to replicate.
Yeah, like and there were like giant replicators where you could replicate like a sofa or something,
And the child gets a big bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
But really, what is a gift shop besides somewhere to get a bunch of stuff you don't need?
It's true.
Yeah.
They probably went to the ship stores. And they're just calling it the gift shop. That's true. That's a good point.
Tiny Eagle Moss stuff in the ship store.
So Pakleds don't die in vacuum. Like,
yeah, apparently
they're
they
like
can
a
survive
Borg?
They can survive being frozen.
I think they were alluding to
And
them being so dumb they can't even die in space.
You don't even know that
Like-
death ensues, right?
They have a
No,
thick
but I mean,
hide.
that's pretty big, like for like lore building and canon building, I guess. Like now you've made them not invincible, but you've made them pretty powerful.
I mean, Michael Burnham did the same. I mean, she wasn't out there for hours, but she.
No, but at this point, Pakleds could like attack your ship by boarding it by jumping across space like Data now.
I also want to point out. One thing to Paul's point. Michael Burnham did have plot armor, so she wasn't completely unprotected.
Okay, all right.
Plot
Fair.
armor is very strong. It's true.
I guess the Pakled had joke armor.
There it is.
I mean, are we okay? Are we like? Do we take everything that happens on Lower Decks literally? I mean, I was talking to somebody else about this on Twitter. Like, I think, or actually, Matt, it might have been you.
It was.
About the fact that recently the Cerritos looked massive, like way too large. In the episode where Mariner, does the ramming speed scene into the ship's shield. It's just like the shuttle's way too small and the ship's saucer is way too large, and I just kind of assumed that it was done for comedic effect. Do we feel this way about other things that happen in the show that like maybe you don't take it fully literally because it's a cartoon?
I don't. I equate that kind of mistake to the same kind of mistakes that the live action shows have done with like Voyager's Shuttle Bay or the Discovery kind of turbo lifts. Like I feel like that kind of stuff happens in all of the shows, and I don't equate it to the fact that it's an animated show. Like to me, it's the same thing.
I mean,
Everything that happens in the animated show, as ridiculous and dumb and nonsensical as the duplas are, I feel like that they're a thing now. Duplas, they exist. That happens. And many people will come at me and say, like, you know what's even more dumb? A big ass green hand in space. Like
Right.
So
I do love making. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like some things happen in Star Trek that violates the rules or canon or whatever you want to call it for dramatic effect. And I was kind of thinking that like the size discrepancy with the Cerritos. I mean, it was done purely for the joke. We are not to believe that the Cerritos is that large. Right?
Yeah, I
in
think
the universe.
I think Lower Decks has the addition of cartoon physics and all that stuff, because like the amount of abuse they stretch and stuff, and they all these things, like, so you can't like. I've always looked at I used to look at Star Trek like really, and I still do. I love like all the minutia and I love like diving deep and like I love it when things connect and are just like very coherent visually and stuff like that, and also like just like seeing a continuity and everything. But I've just learned to like. Basically, as far as what I think that like is important is like if you listen to it like an audio drama, if it still makes sense, then it's all good. And so far, most of Star Trek, if not all of it, when you listen to it like an audio drama, the story is pretty continuous and it is pretty like solid from that perspective. There's very little like infringement, going on from that perspective. Where it like fails is like maybe when you really want to like, if you're going to be a stickler for continuity, like Discovery era ships don't look like that era of ship, like all of Discovery era doesn't look like that era, or things like that. And so how much of a
space doesn't look the same.
Space doesn't even look the same. There's more nebulas in Discovery than I ever remember there being. And TOS always has nebulas too. But
there's a lot of internal space in those ships.
Yeah, it's true, and all that stuff, and the technology even. Like, yes, I saw like not to go deep into this rabbit hole, but yes, there's like a lot of great little explanations as to why there would be holograms and like site to site transporting and all that. But like the fact is, like Scotty, I think at one point says like, oh, like there wasn't site to site transporting when I was around. Like, how do you guys have that? Like, why wouldn't he know about it if it was like a common thing? So yeah, those kinds of things, like I just like have to I like what you said, Paul, where it's like for the sake of the drama, they're just like, okay, cool, we're gonna bend it or break it.
I will have to say, just
break me, but
gonna leave that one. What I was actually, and what I had said between Paul and I on Twitter too, was I have always viewed like the live action Star Treks as, you know, that's where you get those captain's logs. Those are the recounting, the captain is telling of this is what happened on the mission, and these are the details, and this is yada yada yada. Whereas on Lower Decks, it almost feels like someone is telling you the story firsthand. And so it's like Mariner sitting down with you in, you know, the mess hall going, did you see what happened? I bounced a shuttle off the front of the ship and it was 17 times the size of the shuttle, and I just pinged right, you know, things like that, where, you know, the details are kind of fuzzy, like, oh, Rutherford blew up to 18 times his size, when it's like, all right, well, he had some swelling, but, you know, Tendi.
Remind me of Captain Kirk swelling up in 2009.
You mean from TOS era to TNG? You mean him swelling up as a person, or? But that's how I've always seen it, as just, you know, Lower Decks is more of that. You can't always rely that all of the facts are 100% true, but the story's there and you're engaged and you're having fun, and that's what matters.
And there's a precedent, that episode with the unreliable narrator episode with the party. Like, that one's a good example of like how, you know, like this could just be a retell. Exactly. That's a very good point. Blue wants to know, what was your favorite Garbage Day gag?
I agree with Big Buddy Rutherford. The screaming pile of goo was my favorite gag. Yeah, I love that. Was goo or slug or whatever it was? The screaming orange thing.
Oh, where she evacuates Tendi. That one
so much.
That's really funny.
Just, it wasn't even like the evacuate. It was just the screaming. The thing just starts moving and screaming. What the hell?
That screaming.
We talk about the lower decks. We talk about the lower decks not knowing what like the upper deckers are doing. But imagine just being an officer on your way to the mess hall, and then there's this orange pile of goo screaming in the hallway. Like, I'm not going down that corridor. I'm going
when
the
they
other
shrunk
way.
it down. It like went.
There was like a split second gag, which I wish maybe like had like been more impactful, but I got a kick out of it. Is the red shirts are like walking down the corridor after I think it's after Rutherford's been blown up, and they just like look in the door, an open door, and they're like Rutherford's vomiting on the floor. And it's just like, I like that kind of like from other people's perspective, you know, okay, these guys are, you know, and they later say, you know, they always have some kind of goo on them or something like that.
That's what the Voyager crew had to go through with Neelix, like for years and years. Like every time, god damn it.
What's he doing?
What's he cooking?
Matt?
I was a really big fan of just that quintessential, the one that doesn't want to do it the most is the one that gets everything like just handed to her, and having Mariner, just every single thing Tendi picks up, Mariner gets the brunt of just over and over and over. And she already doesn't want to be there. And then we find out that Tendi volunteered them for it. And she's like, are you kidding me? I've had to be phasered out of goo, and this could have been avoided. I wasn't even supposed to do this. I really enjoyed that. It was more of a long-term gag, but I really enjoyed that
too. We've been through that situation where you're like, I don't want to do this, and then just like everything goes wrong.
Just for you though.
For me, it was Scorpion Mantis Tendi running amok, and Boimler using the replicator to like make her laugh, which I thought on second viewing I thought was delightful, that he remembered that she couldn't help crack up when he fell in the beginning, when he fell and the food fell on his face. So I thought that was cool that they like tied it all back in nicely. That was cool.
Yeah, that was
very cute. Chekhov's rifle. Just, you know, if you show it in the beginning, it has to come up later.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't expect it to, so that was fun. Princess Leia can survive in the vacuum of space as well, so that is something that she has in common with the Pakled. I never connected.
Hey, you say the Pakleds have the Force?
They have the force. They're using the force. I love
That's how they fly the ships.
I love Captain
Kids
Janeway's
will
reaction
it to
that.
fly.
That's cool.
The force makes us go.
Just thinking about Carrie Fisher. Sorry.
Hey, Stress Free K, nice to see you. A little poetic license is permissible. Going back to our earlier topic. Yeah, I agree. I laugh most at this episode more so than this is like a unanimous thing. It seems like more so than any other this season. Maybe I was just in a better mood. No, it was pretty funny.
I think it was the funniest. The story, I won't go as far as saying it's the best story. I don't know yet. Like, my mind hasn't made that up, but I think it was the funniest episode throughout.
I agree. I laughed the most on this one.
It felt very after school special. Like, it didn't necessarily need to push the plot forward or have anything big happen, but it was just a bunch of friends reminding each other to have each other's backs and like always stick with the people who have your back. And you saw Boimler, you know, his whole thing. So it felt very after school special Trek. And I thought that was kind of what made it nice. Like, it wasn't trying to bite off more than it could chew. It was just having fun.
I actually kind of thought that this was one of the closest episodes to like a pure, like, this is the plot of Lower Decks, is we're following these underlings doing the jobs nobody else wants to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, the show sometimes forgets that, sends them on wild missions, and I love that it was really just them hanging out doing shit jobs. I will be like the wet blanket and say that I did not like how far it went. That it like escalated into not just Rutherford. I thought Rutherford blowing up was hilarious, but Tendi becoming the Scorpion for me was like just taking that joke just a little bit too far, and I could have done without it because I really did just want that like fun, cute, personal story without it becoming like so zany and over the top again. But is that just the show now? Like,
yeah,
the show
well, I feel like that's the show from the beginning. I mean, zombies was what was the first episode with the the zombies?
That is a good point.
Like that.
I feel like they needed that to tie up the Boimler story. Perhaps they could have found like a less exaggerated way to do that, but they needed that moment where Boimler kind of proves that, I guess, he's the better officer out of like the clique.
You're right.
My only criticism, and I will absolutely agree with you both, is that I think they could have done it without Tendi actually becoming a six-eyed scorpion. I think that might have
just
been
angry Tendi, maybe. Just
I feel like
she gets angry, doesn't transform, just angry.
Yeah,
like something controlling, and she's just like kicking the crap out of everybody. She like, because obviously we see in Star Trek, all of a sudden you can like Kirk double punch somebody, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like that cube was really interesting. So any number of things could have happened that cube was definitely influencing her. So she didn't have to turn into Scorpion Mantis. But yeah, it worked for me because I was just.
But it was very Rick and Morty, and I do feel like they might have pitched Lower Decks as, "Hey Paramount, do you want a Star Trek Rick and Morty?"
I'm seeing
what it
more
really
and
feels
more.
like.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch Rick and Morty.
Even if they didn't pitch it that way, I'm pretty sure Mike McMahon came in and he was like, no, I want to do Star Trek because I love Star Trek. But I'm pretty sure everyone, just from the fact that he was like part of the creative team that started Rick and Morty, everyone was like, okay, this guy's gonna give us Rick and Morty, but with Star Trek skin on it. I mean, like, everyone assumed that. He's been doing a good job at making it not Rick and Morty so far, I think. Like, this feels a lot more Final Space than a Rick and Morty, and I feel like Solar Opposites feels more Rick and Morty.
I love Solar Opposites, by the way. Have you seen Solar Opposites?
No, I haven't seen it either.
You have to see that. It's really good.
Really? I saw Mike McMahon saying that they're working on season 3 or something like that. So it's cool.
I think
that's
they take
his show that he actually writes, right?
Sexual humor a little too much, a little too far in Solar Opposites. That's just me.
Like they did a couple episodes ago for some people.
No, this is tame.
Oh, really?
This is very tame.
Oh, cool. Oh, I might check it out now. Has anyone seen Steve Shive's defense of Wesley Crusher this week? He shows the episode when Wesley forgets to tighten his canister of nanites. Oh, that was a reference to that, which I totally forgot about. That's really funny. Very
I didn't
nice.
even pick that up.
Yeah, it's very cool. Stress-free K, thank you.
I also really love the way the nanites looked a lot like how they visualized them in Evolution, which was that like kind of sparkly. Yeah, because we never really see nanites on camera because they're too small on TNG, you know. But like when they looked at them through the computer, they kind of had that sparkly look, you know. I mean, we did see the nanites actually because they would kind of like sprinkle in the like little glittery. Yeah, so I like that the Mariner's hand was had that sparkly effect on.
I was wondering, like, she's just pushing them with her hand. I was like, how does that work? They're like nanites. Like,
Bad idea.
what
I knew when that was happening. It's like a bad idea.
And then it's all on Anna. I was like, okay, well, that makes sense because that was dumb. What are you doing?
Oh man, Stubbs egg. We finally get to find out what the scene with the D bridge was. Yeah, I was wondering all season how that was gonna just I thought it was gonna be transporter clone Boimler or something like that. I was like making all these crazy harebrained ideas. So I kind of loved that it was just him like channeling his inner captain, and he had that moment, and like everyone was for a moment in awe, which I was too. Boimler's got 2 speeches this season like that. It was pretty cool.
Why is he on the D though? Why isn't he on
It's his favorite ship.
Yeah,
because he was embodying Riker.
About it earlier.
Yeah, he was like, it's his favorite ship. He loves the D. He loves all the symposiums.
I was like, there's another Enterprise now. Why
concerts.
choose that one? Okay.
he's
And the good
obsessed
news
with
is,
it.
the good news is for everybody, Boimler loves the D.
All right.
Yes. Boimler does love the D. Confirmed. I love.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. That was too much gay colonization. I need to.
Too late. We've already spread across half the globe. We're on our way.
Nanites in the wind.
What I loved the way they recreated the bridge. I have to go back and kind of like pause and like really take a look at it, but it looked pretty good. Like it looked like they gave it almost like extra attention. I thought it was pretty awesome. It makes me want to see like a Galaxy class ship, because there's still one out there, right? They're not all destroyed. They're like,
there has to be a few.
There has to be like a couple that are like out there. I feel like, although they've been wrecked pretty hard in the Dominion Wars, so I don't know, but yeah. So
those mini galaxies that we saw in the Dominion War, as Paul pointed out.
The mini ones, yeah.
So yeah, hopefully they're still around and we get to see that like beautiful bridge with the wood and everything.
I kind of would love it if, and I'm probably going to mispronounce his name, but Jerk always
Yerk.
Yeah,
Yerk.
Sorry,
like Kirk. That's right. He says it's like Yerk. Like
right,
Kirk.
It's like Kirk with a J. Anyway, he's always pointing out the black cardboard on the back screen to prevent. I would love to see a little gag where we notice like an outline of the black or something, like on a D bridge.
For the lights.
I think that would be
that would be amazing. Yes.
Right.
Mike McMahon, make it so. I don't know.
Right.
they all love Yerk, so I'm sure at some point there might be a nod. Who knows? Like.
Oh yeah, they all interact with them all the time.
Who doesn't?
Well, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? He puts in so much work.
He does. I
the
feel like
backbone of this community.
I feel like there's like someone collecting all his tweets into like an encyclopedia of
he should
of like stuff. Yeah, he
capitalize
should.
on that. Ferengi the shit out of that.
Yeah,
shout out
the time I did a Easter egg article for Trek Culture. I was just looking at
Trek on the Tube also decided he was going to stop doing all the research because he used to do it all by himself, and he's just like, why am I doing all this, right? Trek on the Tube, you were like, I pay attention to your tweets.
The end of my last video, like I sent a message to Jörg eventually. I was like, you know what, because I've been like, we've been talking for ages now, and at one point last year I said, can you just do the Easter egg like finding for my videos? I'll pay you or whatever. Like wow. he's like no, I'm already busy with like X asterisk Scientia. I got okay, fine. But then this last video, I was like, there's too much. I said, I've found as much as I can. I'm just gonna jack your tweets and put them in my video if that's fine. He's like, there, go ahead. So I shout him out, and I take the tweets that I just And then sometimes he does these amazing collages that would take me too long to do. But at the end of the day, it's like I'll be doing the same thing that he's already done. So I might as well just shout him out and use his stuff. I won't do it all the time, I promise.
He's awesome, but I have to say, like, all you guys do it, and I appreciate it because I don't have the time to do any of it. So, like, there's AJ Hallowell who does it too. There's Geek Filter, Aaron, who also wrote the animated series book, which is pretty cool. I'm reading through that right now. I'm a slow reader. I'm sorry I haven't finished it. There's you guys, like everyone. I feel like I'm like so lucky to be on Star Trek. Just a shout out to Star Trek Twitter. It's pretty awesome. If you know,
as a collective.
Yeah, as a collective. If you like, mute a few accounts, like it's a great experience. It's
We have a
pretty
few
awesome.
Pakleds on there.
There are a few Pakleds. That's true. If you mute Pakled Planet, you're good. it's all good. Let's see here in the chat. The Scorpion was fine, y'all. Braxton, what did you watch this episode? I don't know. I had missed an earlier comment. They totally jumped the shark with Tendi, but I kind of like it's absurd to spend. Yeah, Lord X just kind of like does that. Like it's got like a thing going on for that.
I do feel like Tendi's the victim of this exaggeration that the show has sometimes, because Tendi's like, she's such an outgoing and kind of bubbly character that I feel like it's always with her story that they take it just that too far. It's like the Rutherford Tendi stories of the Tendi ones. I feel like, is it just me that thinks that?
I think Tendi's definitely not being well served this or either season. Although the season where she had her mission with Mariner I thought that was a great episode.
The episode, yeah, the Orion episode. That's her biggest episode so far, and I think that's true. I think actually, to me, this one, the ones that stand out are the Ascension episode was a good Tendi episode too. Like I feel like that. Like we got a good revelation about her character, like how she just wants, everyone to like her and stuff like that, and that's why she sometimes gets a little overboard, which is pretty cool.
But that's like before she went crazy with her cube in this one, she was like kind of standing up to Mariner, and I don't know, she had I don't know, more assertion, I guess Dr. Ta'ana would say, which she wasn't in this episode.
I thought it was interesting that she like she was Mariner was just like, not everything has to be like silver lining and happy all the time. Like sometimes it's just like crappy work and that's it. Like not everything has to be like, you don't have to like figure out like how everything's wonderful. And even though at the end she's like, you know what, your silver linings actually ended up being like great. It was interesting. I like the conflict that occurred where Mariner was like yelling at her and Tendi's just like really taken aback and doesn't say anything. It looked like her feelings were kind of genuinely hurt, and that's why when she got a hold of the cube, she turned into this like crazy person because she was holding it all in, and the cube like enabled her to like let it out, and she was just like nuts
into the Scorpion.
Yeah, the Scorpion,
and go way overboard. Yeah,
go way overboard, which is what I'm calling it. But yeah, I think let's see. We covered Freeman on the planet. We covered the red shirts. Oh, Jennifer. I have Jennifer in my notes. We finally get a little more Jennifer.
Shut up, Jennifer.
Yeah. Did you guys have sympathy for Jennifer after this episode? She was kind of cool, I thought. She was like, like she was nice.
I think we saw more character development with Jennifer than we have with anyone else in the show right now. I kind of feel like everybody else is kind of pigeonholed into their shtick, but like Jennifer got to really come out of her shell and show that she's wholesome, and she actually learned something about not just being with the cool kids, but focusing on her duties and truly earning her rank. So I'm fully team Captain Jennifer.
I mean, if you push this too far, they'll make a spinoff at some point. They'll give her own show and everything.
No, she's going to show up. She'll be in Discovery season 7, and she will be president
back in time.
Yeah.
So far, go ahead, Paul.
I said and a lesbian.
So far,
but not just a lesbian. She will okay.
Well, Andorians have 4 genders, so there's lots of possibilities there. Do you think there's room?
Canon yet, though? They have to make a canon. Someone has to say that. Put it on screen.
I would love to hear that.
I mean, they don't need to put the 4.
Where did you get that from? Like you confused me. I've been taking that for quote unquote canon.
No, it's from the novels. It's the novelization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe is it Data's Day where Data says they require groups of 4 or something like that? Is that where that came from?
Ooh, we'll have to go back and watch.
I don't think
Or
so.
someone
I
in
don't
the
think
audience.
I always thought it was soft canon.
Yeah, I think they just like it was written in some novel, and then because the novels have like a certain continuity together. Like a lot of the people that write the novels like to follow and respect what other people have written, so they kind of just ran with it, and it's a cool concept.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's
It might
ever.
even be like 6 genders or like 8 if there's like the Anar, they have their own genders.
That's
I'm
true.
so
I would
excited
think
about the
that
A&R.
if any of them, Enterprise would have probably delved most into it, just because they went into the Anar, they went into
The
so
decon
much.
chambers.
But they
Tron,
didn't.
Jeffrey Combs, our Lord and Savior.
I like
Yeah.
how I always say Combs. Is it
I do
Coombs? Is the proper?
Combs?
I always say Combs. I don't know. We'll have to hear how he says it. I'll find it on. You can find it on YouTube.
Find him.
I lost my train of thought for a
This
second.
is the kind of riveting content people tune in for.
Truly.
Apparently,
How do you
look.
pronounce the most versatile actor in Star Trek?
Oh yeah,
Yoon.
I just remembered what I was gonna ask you guys. So like the lower deckers, our gang of 4 doesn't really have much tolerance for anyone else. They're kind of cliquey themselves. Like they actually, Jet wasn't allowed to sit with them when
That
Boimler
hurt
came
me.
back.
That hurt my
like,
feelings.
Yeah,
They pushed
and like,
Jet away.
but do you think that the show has? Do you think that's something the show should do? Should it have room to add like another like? Could Jennifer join the gang? Could like there be another lower decker in the mix? Like, is that something
That's
you'd be
Team
cool
Jennifer.
with?
It's inevitable that they'll add a lower decker. It would have been cool if Jet had just stuck around, but we're still kind of exploring these 4 characters. So
It could be interesting to add like a new lower decker later on, and it'll contrast with how much these ones have grown from season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like we'll add like 2 or 3 new characters, or maybe 2, and they come in as like season 1 lower deckers, right? And so you see like the development and the growth that these characters have gone through. Maybe like everyone can rank up in like season 4
lower
or
deck's
something.
the new class.
Yeah.
Lower deck,
exactly.
the next generation.
There you
This
go.
is right there. Right there.
Who could have thought of it?
All right, so we've saved the best for last. Let's talk a little bit about Armis. What did you guys think of that whole gag?
I have to say, when they not only switched to Armis, but they kept it looking like that early season cheap, just back lot, gradient, foam rock. Like they just brought the whole thing. It just felt like a warm blanket that they were just wrapping you up in and going, remember when we did this? And it was so chef's kiss.
I love that canonically Armis is still doing the same thing. Like he's still just chilling out there in his puddle.
Getting mad at ships coming by.
Get that on the Star Trek Wikipedia. But I kind of thought that they made it they lingered a little too long with Armis. I could have used a little less Armis, unfortunately.
It could have been
used more. I feel like the length is what made the joke so good. But I to tie into what you were saying earlier about how maybe our lower deckers are a little, I suppose mean to like newcomers. I feel like it's justified to be mean and like taunting and tormenting to Armis because he is like just a pile of shit, right? He's like evil incarnate. So you can be mean to this guy.
Evil. Yeah.
He will never change. There's nothing he will have no arc. This is not Georgiou that you can somehow like he is just mean. So it's fun that you can like torment him, and it made me laugh that they were just like prank calling him. I don't know. I find it hilarious.
It also destroys I saw a bunch of Easter egg hunters saying that in the God, I can't remember these episode titles anymore. I'm sorry. I'm getting too old to remember. The one with the collector ship.
I think it's what was that one called? Kayshawn, his eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, Kayshawn's eyes open.
His eyes uncovered.
His eyes uncovered.
So a lot of Easter egg hunters had said that Armis was in one of the containers that collapsed on that ship, and it was there is like a big slimy gooey thing, but it's clearly not Armis. So
it's clearly not Armis.
Or somebody could have scooped up a little Armis and taken him with them. You know,
that's true.
you
What
never-
if you could do
So
that?
someone was expecting to have like an actual Armus, but it's just a part of him, and he's really mad because part of him is missing. So
kind of
he's
like
really
Odo.
angry.
Are we Odoing this? Is that what-
Are there bits of Odo that are like separated from him that he doesn't have?
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
There's like bits of Odo floating around in space every time like a ship gets destroyed or whatever. Like, yeah.
every time Odo like changes to a liquid form, part of him evaporates. Oh.
Imagine forgetting part of you somewhere. God damn it! I can feel there's something missing, but where is it?
or
we got
sense word anyway. We won't go down that rabbit hole.
We got two Kayshawn, or what are they called? The children of
Tama.
What is it?
The children of Tama.
Thank you. We got two children of Tama phrases. Buzminti when he pulled back the veil, which means he's a spy, I guess. And then the other one was what was it?
His eyes are red.
Oh yeah, the title of my tweet. Yes, Zenda, his eyes red. So I'm looking for all these to compile them because I like using them.
You're gonna make the dictionary.
Yeah.
Okay, just go on Wikipedia, man. It's
Yeah,
on the
it's true.
Star Trek
They're all
Wikipedia.
there. It's somewhat or like you should make a listicle, Paul.
I mean, you can't trust those guys, but it's there, so.
You mean you can't trust the guys that make the listicles? Because we already knew that.
That's true.
We were well past that a while ago.
Well, they're part of the gay agenda. So like one of these phrases is gonna be false. It's gonna be like, Kayshawn, I don't know, who's coming out or something.
What? Oh, I like that. Kayshawn is coming out. Party.
He's
all right.
Carl. Yes. Okay.
This tells me it's time to rate the episode and give our final thoughts. So I'll go first. I'm gonna give this the first 10 of the season. So episode 6 gets the first 10 for me. I loved it. I was laughing, cracking up. I'm gonna go watch it again tomorrow. Yeah, just a lot of fun. And it's kind of like, again, I'm just glad that I feel like I know that like last episode had just as many Easter eggs or Gorn eggs or whatever you want to call them, Horta eggs, as the collector one did. But I just like it when it's not the emphasis, like it's not like what you're looking for. It's like this felt like the first episode where I felt like, oh yeah, like this is totally just like, let's go into this absurd Lower Decks world again and have a good laugh and get some, you know, cute moments and things like that. And so yeah, 10 for me. Who wants to go next?
I will say that I'm just jumping in. I'm just gonna go ahead. I gotta. This is gonna sound a little bit too on brand. I can't give it a 10. This wasn't in it, so
Ooh,
a solid
we're definitely having
9.
you on when that comes into it. Then.
If and when there's a sovereign class, I will. I don't care what I'm doing at work. I don't care what I am going to be here. I'm going to be on any Trek podcast. It will be. I will be fully booked. I'm giving it a solid 9.8.
Lovely. That's super high. Yeah, that's great.
It was fantastic. Loved it. It was. It was fantastic.
I mean, that's just about as close as you can get to a 10 without becoming a salamander. That's amazing. I give it a 9. I can't give it a 10 because it's not yet like the perfect episode, but it is the closest thing to, I don't know, to like one of the best Lower Decks adventures you could have. It's about the Lower Deckers. Yeah, the joke. It was the funniest from beginning to end that I've seen in these 2 seasons. So yeah, I think it's a quality episode. And it wasn't just an Easter egg hunt where you feel like pausing every second because you're in like a museum or something. It's like there are Easter eggs, but because they're part of the universe.
Well done. Paul, take us out with your final thoughts and rating.
I don't remember what I rated last week. So like it makes this rating system totally arbitrary and stupid because I can't for what I said last week. But
by the way, real quick, Trek on the Tube keeps an Excel sheet. He has all his ratings.
Of mine.
Yeah, of his, just his. Yeah, but he keeps an Excel sheet. Yeah, that's pretty selfish. You're on all these episodes. You should keep all our ratings. No, I'm just kidding.
Can somebody
I'm just
check
teasing
minutes, please?
Secretary, excuse me.
I recall you giving it like a 7 or something somewhere.
No.
There.
I liked last week a lot.
Okay.
But I think I don't know. Let's just say 9. It was almost the quintessential Lower Decks.
Correct answer.
I could have lived without Scorpion Tendy.
That's it. That's your only. If that's the only thing you critique about this episode, that's phenomenal. I think that's pretty cool.
I could have lived without 2 buff Boimler. See?
Oh, the other joke I forgot to talk about was the brass. I gotta blow some. I gotta learn to blow some brass. It was a funny joke about how often does Riker? What does he say? Clean his trombone.
How often does Riker polish his trombone? Which is also a euphemism for Riker constantly having sex with everyone that came along.
Yeah, but doesn't blow some like okay? Isn't that a double entendre about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The old phrase is to polish your trombone or polish your trumpet. Yeah.
No, but I mean, brass is like higher ranking officers too.
Yes,
so isn't it an allusion to
it's a triple entendre. There you
go. Yeah. Okay. Goddamn, this is Jay-Z level at this point.
Lower decks going deep. Real quick, saying goodbye to the audience here. Riker got covered with Armis. What happened to that Armis coating? Maybe it was in the jar in the collector ship. Good, I love that.
That's
see. Really cool. There you go.
Somewhere. Crusher just kept it.
If there's a question, someone's gonna know the answer. That's what I love about Star Trek and Star Trek fans. It's like someone's gonna have like a theory or something like that. Yes, Odo gave away some of himself to Bashir, if I recall. Oh,
he said he'd want that back though. Patrick.
Yes.
So.
A little scoop of I'm loving this Armis stuff. A little scoop of Armis is out.
You back?
Yeah, I guess I would want it back.
Oh.
Armis is out partying up a storm, making real Armis all the angrier and beside itself. Very possible totally gay. So to you, yes. I can't read at 8:30. Sorry, guys.
All right, the window at 7.
Yeah, it's like so we got a lot of good high ratings, 9s and 10s, and SFB always worth staying up late for. Oh, thanks, Cake is Eternal. That's really sweet. We appreciate everyone who comes. Thank you. We had a good audience. Sorry I couldn't get to all the comments, but we were having such a blast here in the chat. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Do you have anything to promote this week that you'd like to tell the audience about?
I would like to say that I'm impressed that Matt was unable to finish that giant glass of wine before the end of the podcast.
Where are you at? Show us. Oh, jeez. Chug. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. All right.
So that's how it is. For the YouTubes, it was just grape juice.
It's just great.
Do you have anything else to say, Paul?
Oh.
Feels challenged now.
We need to have the two of you on the After Dark program. That'll be a trip. That'll be interesting.
Gladly.
Friendly competition. So nothing to promote, but go check out Paul at Paul Sutherland on Twitter. Check out.
Don't do that. Don't do that. He got to go to the stupid premiere. Leave him alone. He doesn't need a couple more.
He did get to go to that.
Only because Patrick in the comments invited me, and I definitely drank too much. And who knows? I won't even watch those, like the recording of the live stream, because I'm afraid of what I might see.
Now I have to go back and watch.
We watched it live, and I can tell you made an ass of it. Do you know what you did to Will Wheaton? Do you remember what you did to him?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was Travis Mayweather who I was sitting near, so I can't remember.
Oh, very nice. You get to wait, we'll talk later, but he was hammered. We have
Yeah, I'm the one that received the drunk dial at 1 a.m. I think 2 a.m.
Cut his feet.
Yeah, we're not gonna drunk shame. Yeah. Anyways, go check out Trek on the Tube at Trek on the Tube, and check out Captain Janeway over here at Juzel_Ricks. Did I get that right? Yes.
That works.
No, it doesn't. No, tell. What is it?
Giselle Ricks, it is.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was close.
Just go through Paul's feed. Whoever's shaming him, that's me.
That's you. Yes, you can always go and see that. So, thank you, gentlemen, so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Live long and prosper, and we will.